Hey there, guys. So today we are going to learn how to add and subtract polynomials. And so go ahead and take a few minutes to copy down these notes. Feel free to pause the video as well. And let's keep rolling. So to add and subtract polynomials, you can only add and subtract if you guys have like terms. Now, in our last unit, we used combine like terms. So we'll call this also CLT. It's the same thing. We are combining like objects together. So like terms have the same variable or letter, if you will, and the same exponent or power. So I want to actually do 2 or 3 addition questions with you first, and then we're going to come back to the subtraction. So let's take a peek at number 1 for addition. How I know is because I have 2 binomials that I'm adding together. So the first things first, you want to combine your like pieces. So notice I have a 5x from the first parenthesis, and I have a positive 4x from the second parenthesis. And I also have a minus 2 from the first parenthesis and a positive 6 from the second parenthesis. So now to combine our like terms, we literally do their operation. So 5x plus 4x gives us 9x. And if we combine negative 2 plus 6, we end up getting positive 4. So 9x plus 4 is our final result. Now from yesterday, we can actually name this polynomial. So we have 2 terms, and x only has a power of 1. So this is a linear binomial. But we don't have to name these polynomials, guys, unless we ask you to in the directions. So right now, we're just having you add and subtract. All right, so let's take a peek at number 2. Number 2 has a lot more stuff, doesn't it? So we're going to take the 6x squared from the first parenthesis, and we see negative 9x squared in the second parenthesis. In the first parenthesis, we see a positive x, and in the second, we see a minus 4x. In the first parenthesis, we have a minus 12, and in the second parenthesis, we have a plus 18. So now let's go ahead and combine our like terms. When you're adding your polynomials, you literally take the signs they have and combine them as you go. So we're going to combine these guys as we go along. All right, so what is 6 minus 9? Well, that's negative 3x squared. And plus 1 minus 4 is minus 3x. And negative 12 plus 18 ends up giving us positive 6 at the end. So again, guys, if you wanted to name that polynomial, we know that its power is a 2, so it's a quadratic, and it has 3 terms, so we'd call that a quadratic trinomial. But we don't have to name them unless we ask for it. All right, so let's take a look at number 3. So number 3 has this 4x cubed. It has the highest power, but he's the only one. So I'm going to keep that 4x cubed by himself. He has no partner from the first parenthesis, but we do have some other things that will combine. So we see a 5x squared in the first parenthesis, and we have a minus 2x squared in the second parenthesis. In the first parenthesis, we see a minus x. And in the second parenthesis, we have a plus 3x. And in the first parenthesis, we have minus 5. and the second parenthesis we have minus 1. All right, so notice 4x cubed does not have a partner. So when you don't have a partner pair, you just bring them down in your answer. He's a lone soldier, starting off our polynomial. All right, but we can take 5 minus 2 in our x squared terms, and we should get positive 3x squared. If I take negative x plus 3x, I end up getting positive 2x, or negative 1 plus 3 to make that easier. And don't forget about the last grouping. So negative 5 minus 1, pardon me, guys, would end up giving us negative 6. And that is how we add. Now we're going to get into subtraction. But before we subtract, we have to really pay attention in mind to the fact that subtraction is going to change some things about our expression, what we have originally. So up at the top of our paper here, we're going to fill in to subtract. What is this going to look like? So in order to subtract, you are going to distribute the subtract through the second parenthesis. First thing. So you must distribute the subtraction. So when we look at number 4, which is our first subtraction question, we're going to subtract everything in the second parenthesis. So instead of a positive x squared, this becomes a subtract x squared. Instead of this 3x inside the second parenthesis as a positive, it now becomes a subtract. Same thing with this positive 2 at the very, very end. Instead of being positive, it now becomes subtraction. And now we keep everything else. Now, since we keep everything else, we can go ahead and combine our like terms. So now since we have our lineup, let's group them together. So we see a 2x and a minus x squared, 2x squared and a minus x squared. So we're going to partner those two together. We also see a plus 7x and a minus 3x. We also see a positive 4 and a minus 2. So let's combine these like pieces. So 2x squared minus 1x squared will leave me with 1x squared left. If I take 7 x's and I take away 3 x's from those, I end up with positive 4x. And 4 minus 2 is going to end up giving us our final term here, which is a plus 2 at our end. So the only difference you guys see for subtraction is you must distribute the subtraction sign into the second parenthesis. So let's do number 5 and 6. Feel free to pause your video, guys, so that you can see these and have them on your notes. All right, so first things first, I see a subtraction sign. So as soon as I see subtract, I must distribute that sign through. So 5x squared was positive, now I'm going to subtract him. If I am already subtracting 7x, I am going to subtract the negative, which becomes a positive 7x now. So you're changing the sign. So if I had something that is negative, like negative 5 already, I am subtracting the negative, so now it becomes a positive. Go ahead and bring down your left-hand side, and let's combine some like terms. So I see this 4x squared and this minus 5x squared. We also have a negative 2x and a positive 7x, a positive 1, and a positive 5. So let's combine our like terms. Notice how we're using different symbols or different ways of grouping, and that's because they are their own set. So 4x squared minus 5x squared is a negative 1x squared. So we can write that as negative x squared. Negative 2x plus 7x will end up giving us a positive 5x. And 1 plus 5 is, you got it, 6. It's not too crazy now, is it? All right, let's take a look at number 6. Again, if I am subtracting, I must make sure that I distribute my subtraction. So instead of a positive x cubed, I'm subtracting the x cubed. If I'm positive 2x squared, I'm going to now subtract my 2x squared. If I'm already a subtraction of x, I am going to subtract the negative, which becomes a positive. And again, if I subtract a negative 3, it becomes a positive. Go ahead and bring down your first parenthesis information, and let's combine our like terms. So taking a look, we have a negative x cubed is our highest power, so we're going to put him in front. Our next biggest power is x squared, so we're going to use that 6x squared. We have a minus 2x squared. We see a positive 8x and a positive x, a negative 2 and a positive 3. So notice our negative x cubed is a lone soldier. Nobody combines with him. So we're going to keep it. Keep him along for the ride. Now 6x squared minus 2x squared is in fact 4x squared. 8x plus 1x is going to give us 9x's. And don't forget about your negative 2 plus 3, or 3 minus 2, which ends up giving us positive 1. All right, guys, it's time to practice, and we have a Google slide activity for today for your assignment.